So we have more, which is exciting. It's happening right now. Please welcome Heidi Hunter to the floor. Heidi will be facilitating a workshop on giving your brand wings. A little bit about Heidi. Manitoba artist Heidi Hunter has worked in the arts for over 40 years. Shifting from a career in theater, she's spent the last 22 years working out of her Runs with Scissors studio, where she creates art, hosts classes, and produces events on her rural property. Over the past several years, she's taught marketing to artists across the province through various Creative Manitoba programs. Creative Manitoba. Most recently, she's focused on online coaching for emerging artists, mentoring young rural artists, teaching writing from the well, creative journaling for self-care and resilience. Limitations of the past few years have inspired her to develop new revenue streams relevant to what we talked about this morning, by designing websites, offering specialized branding consulting for artists. Most recently, she's co-developed 2 mobile apps to further enhance a creative customer journey, connecting small businesses to clients. Please take it away, Heidi.
Thank you. Oh, well, here I am talking about branding, which is, it's so amazing because branding is the thing that we all know, but we can't explain, we can't nail down, and it's so about who you are and what you gravitate to and what stirs your heart. And I'm sure we all have our opinions of different companies or different artists or different brands. I know I always liked Pepsi over Coke because I liked Pepsi's ads better. And that was I just always was a Pepsi person. So I'll go through a little bit about my history with marketing later. But anyway, I have, maybe it was coming from a theater background. Maybe it was being a feeling like I never had a voice. Even though I pretended to have a voice, I really didn't feel I had an authentic voice until I hit rock bottom well, years ago now. I was in the early 90s. But from there, I realized that the more you can be, the more people can gravitate to you, the more you can connect. And isn't life about connecting? And isn't art about connecting? And isn't your art practice connecting with you? And isn't the way you what made you love being an artist, whatever your art form is, isn't it a way of that you fell in love with yourself? It kind of is, right? You can admit that. Don't you make things, produce things, write things, perform things, and go, wow, I did that. That's pretty delightful. Don't you delight yourself? I hope you do. I really hope you do, because if you want to connect to others, you got to put out a message that you're willing to connect the way you feel comfortable. And so this is where I just want to give you just some little games. And yes, we're going to be using pen and paper. You got pen and paper there, and away we go. So I think my brand, please don't make me think. I don't want you to think. This is not about thinking. It's reverse thinking. You don't have to think about something to find the answer. I just want you to go, oh, what's the first thing I think of? Or what's the first thing that comes up? I want you to just connect to something. And I invite you to doodle or scribble and use that paper, because as you're experiencing the next now 40 minutes, you will take in what you want to take in or what is timely for you. So I just go pick and pluck. If you pick and pluck one thing, it'll be worth it. So if something's not a fit, I don't care. I used to really care, and I stopped caring. And boy, the less I care, the more my brand comes out, which is ridiculous. This collage, I was feeling depressed a couple of years ago, and I have dealt with chronic depression. I decided to do a collage, a stupid face collage, every day for 75 days. I now have a collection, a series of 75 half-baked, just so I cheered myself up. you can't write that because you are writing your brand. You are who you're searching for. So let's not think. So without thinking, how can you describe that indescribable? How can you coax out your story? Maybe in images, maybe in feelings, maybe because a brand isn't just about a mission statement and a business plan. It's not about that at all. There's that whole ethos, that whole vibe that has everything about it, about you and what you do that you're passionate about. And you make a promise to your audience, and I hope you can take pride in that promise. What can you really promise? I know what I can promise my clients. I can promise them that I'm going to really screw up, and I'm going to admit it. And every time either you or someone else screws up and you have to learn from it, you grow from it. So I am not afraid of failing. So that's a huge thing for me. So that's part of my promise. I can promise people that I'll probably screw up and I won't know what we're doing. I don't really have a set agenda right now, because what I talk about, I know deeply in me. And that's what I want you to get to be with you and your art. You and your arts practice, that you can talk about it and be to brand, because it just comes from you and you've taken that time to go in there. Wing it with words. We're just going to wing it. And then you'll have a little formula for consistency. What works, you can go back and revisit it. So yes, we're going to use your pen. Why? Because typing is faster. Yep. I learned from, I guess it was Allison that said, slow down so you can respect each other. Let's slow down and not type. Let's slow down and connect with the kid that learned how to express themselves with a pencil. And I really believe that typing is socially distancing from yourself. I really believe that. And just ask anyone who, if you've loved someone that is no longer with you, would you rather have a text from them or a handwritten note from them? Would you rather have a text from your grandma or find their recipe card? There is something so personal. And for me, doing this on the computer is a mechanical, there's a thing between me and my thoughts. Doing this, it's a kinesthetic pouring of the thoughts. Sometimes they don't make sense, but I'm still meandering and pouring. I don't know how it works, but it works. This is, okay, well, that sucks. So I'm going to, like it's just, there's just a wall. So I always encourage, get that pen out. So get that pen out and write the word wings. And I want you to just give your, just W-I-N-G, why do you, off the top of your head, just not jot down some ideas. Why do you practice your art? Why? Without thinking. And I really invite you to be wrong. Like sometimes you kind of have to write down the wrong things so you know the right. And everyone in Zoom, I can see you whether you're typing or having your I sound like the elf on the shelf or something. I can see whether you have a pen in your hand. Really, I invite you to take that little leap into process. Just try it. You can always go back. Why do you do what you do? And what inspires you? And it may not be specifically to to your arts practice, but what inspires you? What stirs your heart? What are your non-negotiables? What is your, like, what do you need? What do you value? What do you say no to? Like, that is like, that's my limit. I will not do this, or I need this. This is not negotiable. These are your values. What do you value? What's your goal or goals? And it could be the sun, moon, and stars. You might as well put it out there. I'm just going to keep just kind of steamrolling through so you don't have time to think. Just pour it out. And what is your string of pearls of successes that are showing you that you're going in the right way? You're going in the right direction, even if it feels wrong. Sometimes going in the wrong direction is the right direction. So what are your successes? And I would say successes are sometimes overcoming failure or learning from failure. Did anything surprise you? Just pouring it out. Did anything surprise you a little bit? And if it did for you on Zoom, you could put it in the chat. Were you surprised? Yeah.
Usually, I have a hard time writing. I like to take my time and really think through my ideas to be able to write them down. And I was just nonstop writing. Just
Interesting.
able to get more out than I would have been normal.
So usually you like to kind of ruminate and think before you write, and now you just went for it and you found you could do it. Interesting, I find. What made it different for you?
You.
Oh, you're welcome. What if this stuff is easy? What if thinking is a habit? What if perfection is a habit? What if procrastination is a habit? We know it is. What if you just go, damn the torpedoes, I'm going to do a stupid face every day till I feel better. And then after I felt better at about 40 days, I went, well, it's kind of fun. And then I started hating it. And then I started liking it again. And I went through this journey, not even knowing why I was doing it, for the intrinsic value that play gives you. And when you play, that this is my little takeaway, I'm giving it to you before you're even taking anything away, is if you can make something playful and enjoyable, like, why not? You'll learn that way. That's how kids learn. That's how we learn. So let's talk about your brand is your voice, your position with your competition. I'm a visual artist, yes. I also come from a theater background. So yeah, there are some people with a theater background that have become visual artists. Okay, well, I was also a mime, so there's more from theater body stuff. Oh, now I'm practicing fascia release and breathing techniques and have certified in a different modality. And is that part of my brand? Absolutely, because it's still playful, it's still fun, and it's driving me as a creative. What's driving you? Let's find that out. So your position is different than anyone else. Your brand is your fingerprint, right? Nobody is you, nobody. And has that combination of what you have that stirs your heart and informs your work, and nobody makes work like you do. And your story, that, like, I go into story mostly in the marketing aspect. If you know your story and your love affair that you've had with your art, and you know that story back and forth, you can talk about it anywhere. You can feel at home in it, and your brand is you, is that. So let's do, oh, this is my analogy. If we were having a lemonade stand convention, you know, and you had a day to put together your lemonade stand, believe me, you would kind of, well, you probably would approach it differently. Everybody would approach it differently, but guaranteed there'd be no two lemonade stands the same. And the vibe from each one, even if you're not a lemonade entrepreneur and you're a songwriter or a visual artist or a dancer or whatever you are, a musician, your lemonade stand would have your brand in it without you trying. I want you guys to stop trying and just start celebrating who you are. So like, yeah, okay, so you look at these lemonade stands. How do you describe them? Who would you buy lemonade from? I think I know who I would, but I don't know who would you buy lemonade from? The little kid in the bow tie. There's a feeling to that, right? What if you were really, really thirsty and you really wanted the best lemonade? Where would you go? Would it still be the little kid?
Yeah, I think it'd be this bruiser on the left, crossed arms.
Yeah, and the jar of money, obviously, they know what they're doing, not ashamed of it. You know, no nickels there. If you were thirsty, I wouldn't go here. If I wanted an Instagram account, I might go there about lemonade, but I wouldn't go there. But there's messaging. What if it were, I don't know, a homeschooling Instagram account that we're talking about, you know, enterprising. I don't know, I might go there. But so if you know who your audience is, they also are attracted to you for who you are. So it's really good to know who your audience is. And if you say it's everyone, I go, well, then you better have a lot of money for advertising. You better have a lot of patience because it may take a while. If you hone down your audience and know who really likes your brand, who really is attracted to your brand, they're just going to be there cheering you on. So let's spiral in. So we're going to do a little spiral writing. Do you have room on your page? I would like you to draw a spiral and just a little note because we're going to be writing on the spiral. So don't make too many lines in because we don't have time. So make a spiral on your page that, you know, maybe goes around 2-3 times at the most. And let's just play this like a game, a sensory, putting words to your memory game. When you hear game and you hear I don't know, work or assignment, do you feel a difference? What if you made things a bit of a game for yourself? That's how you learn. Little tip from me for sure. That's certainly what I found. So as you start writing on the line, I really believe that creativity comes from constraint, from having to lean into something. You have to be able to, you need something, you need a side of a pool to push against to get into the water. You need that taking off point. And if you, just by doing your wings, W-I-N-G-S, is a constraint, right? It's kind of a fill in the blank. This is a constraint, and the constraint is, I'd like to put you in your creative place where you feel you are in the flow with your art, either in the studio or on stage or whatever you do. Put yourself there, and I invite you to, on the way in, write. Every sentence starts with either I smell, I taste, I feel, I touch. No, I feel, I hear. What did I miss? I hear, I smell, I feel, I touch, I see. Okay? And you can, if you don't smell anything, you could say, I smell nothing, I smell nothing. I taste cold black coffee. I feel fabric. I hear the snip of a scissors. You put yourself in your place when you are creating and you are in the flow. And going in, just to do that with that constraint, when you get into the center of the spiral, I want you to write as fast as you can, flip over that line in the center and write yourself out of everything you love about your art form. Maybe your art form talks to you, and just go for it. So I'll give you, 4 or 5 minutes to do that. And just, I see, I smell, I taste, I hear, I touch. I'm just going to deke and get a glass of water. Should have thought of that. you're finished, I invite you to reread your words. And if there's anything that surprised you or pops out at you, you know, little gem of 1 or 2 words or a way you grouped words together, just notice them. You might circle it, or you may find a way to unwind. Last 30 seconds. How was that writing just the senses? With that constraint, I see, I feel, I hear, how was that for you? Frustrating, opening, like it'll be different for everyone.
Felt kind of grounding, I guess, even though I was like in my head thinking about these specific things, taking myself to this place of like just noticing that I have this ability to speak my mind, to kind of, I mean, I even wrote it in here, but I feel like I'm falling in love again with the act of being playful and creating something from just my free spirit. Pretty cool.
My wish is for people to fall in love with themselves. So you just said my wish. My wish is for people to fall in love with themselves. We're so loving and kind to everyone else. And we're artists, we're so expressive. We can express that to everyone. If we don't really keep connecting to what our own life force, our own, our own connection to our voice, where are we? We're just in a, Instagram world of hashtags and grant applications and likes and got to get the email out and that. Like, I beg you to feel the potential of connecting to yourself on a different level. But that's already there. Like your experiences were already there. You just tuned into the senses and you use that constraint. You can use that sensory constraint to write about anything. Oh my God, like anything, dealing with grief, dealing with anger, dealing with missing someone. Put yourself in that place where you can really feel it and write out your senses. It gives a different perspective. And this isn't stuff that you probably, I don't know. You may find that it comes up in your work more when you're aware of it. So then your work can become even more intentional. And people, I think, will sense that. They'll sense the energy and that kind of vulnerability, that openness to go into yourself. That's what your brand is, because though you're going to get the right people connecting to you. And I've had some people challenge me that, well, don't you want to connect to everyone? No, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. Yeah, I'd love, to not have to worry about income. I'd love to not have, but no, absolutely, because I feel so connected to the people I connect to. It devalues that to just be people pleasing, what, you know, that's why you do your art, because you feel strong about it. So how you put yourself out to your people and who you put yourself out to, super important. So off the top of your head, describe your brand in 3 to 5 words. Just write them down without thinking, because we don't have time to think. And yes, you can change your mind. Yes, you know, you can change your mind yesterday. You can change your mind tomorrow. Go ahead, change your mind yesterday. Everything you do will have a sense of those words in it. Everything you do. And that is part of your brand. So I try to rebrand myself, and I can't, because I'm just becoming more me as I get older. You're just becoming more of you. And you know what's amazing? The more you share of you, the more of you there is to share. And you have to start with sharing it with yourself. So my 3 words are connection, play, and welcome. And I also use the word collide, because it is my worlds colliding, but that's what happens when creativity happens. The right things collide and boom, you've got something that you created. Who cares if it's good or not? Who cares what you're writing down really quickly? But what if there's a gem there? And embrace. So collide and embrace they could kind of be the same thing. So that's my brand. So anything I do, I'm going to be that. And I don't have to act like that, because that's what I am. You don't have to act. A brand isn't something that you have to adopt. It's who you are. Am I sounding too imploring? I'm just like, oh my God. Okay, so do you know what a gerund is? It's an ing word that can be a noun if it's an ing word. The shining, the discovering, the branding, the writing. I'd like you to draw a little meandering river on your page. And as fast as you can, I'd like you to put all the ing words that you do when you do your art, including promoting, photographing, slogging, schlepping, ing words. Okay? And just have this little river of words, each one ending in ing. And I invite you to read through your river of gerunds, the river gerund, and look at your words and where you, I mean, those words come from somewhere, right? Come from your experience. It's what you do in your art. Draw a little tributary out of your river, a little line, and then put a little example. It might even be like my, you know, like maybe I put ironing as my thing, and then I go, oh, standing watching Downton Abbey while I'm ironing. Like, you know, I might put just Downton Abbey. Like, I don't know, I have this memory of doing that. So go to your ing. Here, I think I've got my example from here. And God knows what my, you know, I'm like twisting, teaching, sharing, zooming, sketching, organizing, blah, blah, blah. And then from these, rinsing, I put aching hands and bad posture, because that's part of it, right? So you can go, you probably have tributaries for every one of those words, right? So do like 3 or 4 of those. It's all about making connections and being aware of those connections that are already there and putting words to them, but in a playful way. And here's the cool part. Every one of those tributaries could be a blog post, a social media post, an image. It comes from who you are and what you do in the studio or wherever you make your art. And you've got all these little things. So when you can't think of content, you are the content. This is what people want from you. I want that from the artists that I follow. I want a little glimpse into a little more of their process, a little bit more. I want to fall in love with them. Your audience wants to fall in love with you. And yeah, like people, you know, writing about COVID when I went wishing, you know, hanging. I think I was hanging stuff for this little festival. And then I went, yeah, I had a tree that hugged people. It was a tree hugger. You know, not everybody would come to my place, would want to come and get hugged by a tree. Good. I want the ones that want to come to my place and get hugged by a tree. Is it playful? Yeah, for me, it's playful. Is it self-centered? Yeah, it's self-centered because that's where I am centered. I am centered in me, and I can reach out and connect because I'm from a grounded place. So really what you're doing is playgrounding, right? You're grounded in what you love. That's your brand. So now that you went through your river, have your 3 or 5 words changed from how you describe yourself, or do you have any better words? And guess what? You can change your words around. And the more you change them, you're just finding your way, right? Sometimes you have to lean into the wrong word so you know where you go for the right word. But you know what? You do this long enough, your words aren't going to change. They're going to be consistent because you're developing that falling in love relationship with yourself, right? Those same words are going to keep coming up. Another great thing is to ask your audience of words to describe you. You know, have you done word clouds where you ask your audience to go to a website, they put in 3 words to describe, to describe this thing or whatever. I did it, 3 words to describe my brand. And creative, playful, humor came out, like the things that I wanted it to be up. They weren't, intellectual, responsible, which might be fantastic if that were me. I'd want that to come up, but it kind of matched. So that's a great thing anyway, to do stuff like that. Ask your friends, what are words? How would you describe me? What are 5 things you want to be known for? Write down 5 off the top of your head. And if you want to share one, please do. And if people on Zoom, write down 5 things. If you want to share one, put it in the chat. What do you want to be known for? Does anyone want to share one of the things they want to be known for? Just put it out there, or see if anyone puts theirs in the chat. Is it okay to be known for something? It's like you have to give yourself permission. Like, oh.
Starting conversations.
Starting conversation? Absolutely. And you know what? I knew that about you from the last session because that's what you did. So you didn't have to go looking for what the right thing is. It's just who you are. You're a conversation starter. What else? What else? Yeah, Dan.
Creating a relaxing, comfortable environment. Space.
You're a comfortable environment space creator. Yeah. So you want to, it seems like you want to make people feel at ease. And yeah. And did you have to stretch? It's just who you are. Did anything surprise anyone? And did we get any in the chat? Was there anything?
Yeah.
That's okay. Okay, we're coming close to the end here. Can you imagine? Like I can talk about this stuff for days and I had to just pull in. Not that I love to talk about falling in love with myself, but boy, is it a relief to not give a shit. Like it really is. For me, where I am right now in my career, I spent so many just energy and years trying to fit in where I didn't fit in. And for me, I had to hit rock bottom before I went, oh my God, like I gotta get myself together. And even then, it took years before I went, yeah, I guess it's okay to. And I always looked like someone that loved themselves and someone that was so happy, you know, like, see, Robin goes, you know, were you a children's performer? Yeah, you know, I was a children's performer when she was, when she was a children, you know, like, and I go, wow, if you knew how unhappy I was then, like if you knew how I could put that, you know, I was a master at covering up. And it was when I chose to be uncovered, unplugged, and more transparent. Oh, just unbelievable. The relief I felt. So if you don't know where to start with your story. And I'm just going to leave you with this little assignment. I did this as an exercise. If you had 12 images, this is my own 12-step program of falling in love with yourself. And if you had 12 images of you and your art, how you fell in love with your art or your craft or your creative voice, what would those 12 images be? And if you were like, you probably can't do it now, this will be your homework, your home play. And if it were an image, would there be any words to it? Maybe you could meme your life. What is the one thing for each image? Might be a word, and it doesn't even matter because it matters. It's only about you and your process. So I've got my journey with creativity is also, this is my story. So I have my story in 12 images can I turn off that bank of lights just so you can see it a bit better? I want to honor my images there. That's better. Whoops. And these are the sentences that go to each. I have a secret sock drawer. I've had it for over 40 years. At age 3, I witnessed a miracle. At age 5, I learned marketing. For the first 30 years of my life, 30-some years of my life, I had vacansopapurosophobia. And I'll save you looking it up. It means fear of the blank page. Stifling, anxiety-driven fear. In order because I wasn't good with words, I learned to talk with my body. Until I studied with a master that said, who wants to fail first? And I found, I was going, me, pick me, I want to fail first. And then I did. I hit the rock bottom of my life and a woodpecker saved me. I make things with my hands. Once I kept a journal with my non-dominant hand for a month, pretending I was a vet who discovered she was an artist. I have a special love of parades. I believe that half-baked ideas should be celebrated. And when life gives you a storm, you build a fort. So that would be my journey in my art. Having said that, it's also my journey. I've done this as a keynote speech in healing, recovering from trauma. It can also be a speech on just creativity. It can be, I'm trying to turn it into a book right now on playgrounding, being grounded in play and ways of finding inner wisdom, accessing inner wisdom just by going back to those basic fun things when we learned. And so you've all got that in you, and that's what your brand is. I guess that's it. Do you have any questions? Or any questions? Or
Yeah, I know you started last year. And I'll be honest, at first I was like, oh, we did this last year, but, which sounds negative, but I was like, oh, wow, like, it's fun doing it again. So it was just interesting, like, how things have changed and like doing it again, the same play and stuff, so it was fun to like check myself. I'm like, oh yeah, check yourself.
thank you for that. What a gift that is, because part of me went, shit, some of this I did last, but you know what? You come from a different place.
Yeah.
You know what? You meditate once and go, well, I did it. You know, I don't have to do it again. You know, we get up every morning. You don't say, well, am I going to have to get up tomorrow? You know? So these things, like, I really try. I try to play. I held a fortnight on Zoom, and I had 50 people come, and they built forts in their bedrooms, in their closets, and we wrote this deep stuff from our forts, and I kept my fort up. I've got my fort in my studio, and damn it, I'm writing my book in my fort. I go in there every day. And I don't, some days I go, why the heck am I doing this? But you know what? Why not? Anyway, so thank you for that. Thank you. We're good?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Hello again, friends at home.